And now let's talk business. Tier 1 bank in Nigeria, Access Bank, is acquiring the National Bank of Kenya from a KCB Group, its second expansion into Kenya's financial sector in under 5 years. It had bought Transnational Bank Limited in 2019, and this is the Nigerian lender's second acquisition in Kenya. Access Holdings Secretary Sunday Ekwochi announced in a statement filed on the Nigerian Exchange Limited on Wednesday that the deal's finalisation is contingent upon receiving regulatory approvals from the central banks of Kenya and Nigeria. And joining me on the news to talk about this is Aziz Lawal, Managing Director, Trust Bank Asset Management Limited. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
All right. Are you surprised in any way this acquisition is happening weeks after the death of the first GCEO?
Yeah, thank you for that question. The question it's interesting, right? Because I'm not sure I can answer that without mixed feelings, right? But straight to the question. Access Bank is the biggest bank in Nigeria by asset size, right? And they have robust corporate governance by implication, right? And you'd expect that they also have succession planning. So it's not really coming at a surprise, particularly when we take it from the words of the group CEO, the current CEO, right? That Bolaji Agbede, where she said that it's a significant step in the execution of the bank's 5-year plan, of the group's 5-year plan. So what that tells you that, and typically for acquisitions like this, the conversation, they must have started the conversation months before. It could even be a year before. Some of these acquisition conversations, they take years sometimes, right? So what implies is that, this is not a conversation that Agbede herself started, right? Or rather, it must have been started by Herbert himself, Mary Expense piece, right? So yeah, so in context, so to answer your question directly, so it's not really coming at a surprise, but rather this acquisition will further cement his legacy and vision for the group. Thank you.
Now, the KCB Group CEO, and that's Paul Russo, affirmed that Access Bank will acquire the whole stake in a deal he deemed beneficial for NBK's future. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, again, I'll go to the words of Agbaje, right, where she said that the balance sheet size of the bank itself is well over $1.1 billion, right? So again, it's going to be beneficial to the bank because that's the National Bank of Kenya now, because if you judge by today's valuation, if you take the value of that bank if you value it in Naira terms, it probably will come to around 1.7 trillion. Right? At the 9 months, the total asset of, for context now, the total asset of Access Bank is well over 21 trillion, right? So it's definitely will be beneficial to the bank because now they are now part of a much bigger bank. So either way, it's beneficial to the National Bank of Kenya and a very good acquisition for Access Bank. Thank you.
Well, let's talk about benefits. I'd like you to expatiate a bit more for Nigeria. How have these of benefits for Nigeria, this kind of transaction, if you could elaborate much more on how it benefits Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Like I mentioned earlier, Access Bank is the biggest bank in Nigeria by asset size. At the 9 months, their total assets are around 21 trillion, right? And there is a 5-year strategic plan. So there is a target they're trying to meet, right? And part of that strategy is the fact that they want the access the group, the corporation now to be the gateway, Africa's gateway to the world, right? So they have that strategy to dominate Africa. So starting with East Africa, because again, and Agbede also mentioned that is an opportunity to scale up, to significantly scale up the group's presence in East Africa. So ultimately, that will benefit Nigeria because whatever Access is doing in terms of taking a major stake or controlling a major market within East Africa is an extension of the dominance of Nigerian banks. So to improve our confidence, we will also benefit from it because don't forget that some Nigerians now will be recruited to work in that National Bank of Kenya. So it's a major positive for Access Corporation, the group, and of course to Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your business insight, Aziz Lawal. Thank you once again.